How do you come up with a creative marketing concept for a company that sells this, but also sells this, and all of that? The point is, Savanaugh Equipment sells all types of mining equipment, some new and some ancient. And if you're a company that sells B2B and markets to a specific industry, the first thing you need to do is create a concept that relates not only to your company, but also to your target market. Now, mining is a broad term. There is underground mining, open pit mining, placer mining, and all the processing and refining methods. Savanaugh Equipment sells everything. They're like the eBay of mining equipment. So the first thing we needed to know was, what does everyone in the mining industry recognize? We call this a trigger. A trigger is a word or object that reminds customers about you every time they hear that word or see that object. So if I say coffee, you might think Starbucks. I show you fries, you might think McDonald's. What is the trigger word or object for mining? Pickaxes? Mining tunnels? This giant rock truck? The more we researched, the more we found there was one object everyone in the mining industry used at some point, from the CEO to this guy. They have all worn the mining hat. We had our trigger. But a mining hat is so common that it's difficult to make it align with only one brand. It would be a little like using a generic beer can to advertise your beer. People would see it as a beer can, but you would just be advertising beer, not your brand. Meaning we needed someone or something to wear the mining hat, a character that could be an ambassador for all mining equipment and Savanaugh Equipment at the same time. As it happens, Mr. David Karstein, a salesman at Savanaugh Equipment, mentioned to our CFO, Rory Bamford, who mentioned to our CEO, Jared Downey, that we should do something with this little guy. This is a marmot. They dig, they climb, they whistle, just like any good miner might do. And more importantly, there's an entire community of them living in and on the inventory at Savanaugh Equipment's storage facility. And just like that, we had our equipment ambassador. The creative team went straight to work and came up with this cutie. Marty the Miner, your equipment finder. The funny little marmot living on the equipment wearing a miner's hat, who spends most of his time finding more equipment. We tied together the trigger, the ambassador, and the large inventory of equipment into one. If you're wondering, does this really help sell this? Here are your stats. On social media, Marty the Miner has over 20,000 likes on just one post. He has one of the most viewed pages on the Savanaugh Equipment website. And at one trade show alone, Savanaugh Equipment handed out 500 plush Martys. The show got infested by marmots, and equipment sales hit an all-time high just 3 months later. So how do you come up with a creative marketing idea for your company? Think about what represents your industry. That is your trigger. In this case, the mining hat. Find something unique to represent your company that can be associated with your product and target market. For Savanaugh Equipment, it was a family of marmots living on their inventory. Finally, find a way to combine your trigger and ambassador to deliver the message in an interesting and engaging way. Savanaugh Equipment brought together the famous mining hat and their marmot pals out in the yard to make Marty the Miner your equipment finder, who not only finds more equipment, but also helps find more customers. What is your trigger? Who is your ambassador? And how can you tie it all together to create the perfect marketing campaign to lead your industry?